In 1938, approximately 6 million people turned into a radio station at 8 p.m. thinking it would be a normal night for them. Then the radio program begins as a simulation of normal evening radio broadcast, featuring a weather report and music by Raymond Raquello and his orchestra live from a local hotel ballroom. After a few minutes, the music is interrupted by several news flashes about strange gas explosion on Mars. It then goes back to music for a couple more minutes till once again interrupted by news of a strange meteorite landing in Groves Mill, New Jersey. From there, the radio talks about how some people have met the Martians and how they are hostile towards us. Then over a period of time, music will be played and interrupted as quick updates of the situation aired, like fire flights, the New Jersey state declaring martial law on the Martians, more meteorites landing, and how now there is an army of them. After updates on the invasion and people fleeing and how we are losing, it transitioned into a quick break where Dan Seymour, the announcer of the radio, says, "You are listening to a CBS presentation of Orson Welles and the Mercury Theater on the air, in an original dramatization of The War on Worlds by H.G. Wells. The performance will continue after a brief transmission. This is the Columbia Broadcast System." The last third of the program is performed in a standard radio drama format consisting of dialogue and monologue. After the conclusion of the play, Wells resumed his role as host and told listeners that the broadcast was intended to be merely a holiday offering. Each time they went on break, it was delayed for 10 minutes for dramatic content.
After the episode aired, there was widespread outrage in the media because the program's news bulletin format was considered as deceptive by some newspapers and public figures. According to Professor Stanley Cantril, 1.7 million listeners thought it was an actual news bulletin. This led people to call the FCC in order to impose regulations. It was also seen as an attack on the radio stations because radio had siphoned off advertising revenue from print during the Depression, which badly damaged the newspaper industry. Now, the newspaper industry wanted vengeance and used the incident to discredit radio as a source of news. This was meant to show advertisers and regulators that radio management was irresponsible and not to be trusted. What astronomers have learned about this situation is that information can be misunderstood by both broadcasters and listeners, and certain key facts and information can be lost in the noise. For example, if astronomers announce that they found exoplanets in the Hadley zone, then the media will make it seem like astronomers have found life in them, even though that is not the case.
What remains to be answered is how astronomers can announce life on a planet without the media taking the information and twisting it in order to get more clicks/views. The media is well known for dramatizing events in order to increase their viewership. This leads to how astronomers would bring up the news that there's life on a planet. Would they want to get more evidence to support their claim? Or would they also want to share the news as soon as possible in order to get recognition? As was mentioned in the book Strange New Worlds, Geoffrey Marcy and Paul Butler announced the discovery of 2 planets in 1996 using ratio velocity, which consists of not looking for signs of planets themselves, but observing a star for signs of movement. During this time, astronomers had their doubts about planets existing, or other stars having a solar system similar to ours. The doubters explained that the ratio velocity method could only measure a companion's minimum mass. This meant that brown dwarfs or even stellar companions could impersonate planets. As we can see, there are conflicts of interest because astronomers want to be recognized for their work and discoveries, but certain discoveries can cause panic due to the uninformed public. That is a question that astronomers have to answer, because eventually, they will find new discoveries that will change human history.